On the Radio is brought to you by Zurich Insurance, the perfect place to catch up with all things Melbourne. If you enjoy this content and want more inside access from the team, make sure you visit the club website.
Well, it's preliminary final week, and who else would you rather chat to than the captain of the best team in football, who are gearing up for a big clash against the Cats on Friday night at Optus Stadium. It's going to be great business. Max Gawn joins us in the Inner Sanctum on the Breakfast Club. Good morning, Max.
Hello, Half. Hello, Whitey. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you with us. Now, just tell us where you are. The fans want to know all this stuff these days. Where are you currently?
I am at Joondalup Resort, which is, people tell me, the Cranbourne of Melbourne. So the Casey Fields of Melbourne. So it's about 40 minutes northwest of Perth. And we're just chilling there. It's like a golf resort, but we're not allowed on the golf course. We have to stare at them tee off from the first tee, and we got a little caged resort. So it's beautiful weather, but yeah, we don't really have much mobility.
It is a beautiful place. I've been there. I've played the golf club. I've trained on the Joondalup footy. In fact, I've played at the Joondalup footy oval. It's a beautiful, big, expansive oval. Is that where you're training?
Yes, it's the smallest of the waffle grounds, and it's still twice the size of Gosh's.
Magnificent. Well, you're not able to enjoy the lifestyle, but you're sitting there getting ready for a prelim. What's the last week been like, particularly on the weekend when you, I imagine, a fair chunk of you were watching the game with the Cats?
Yeah, the week off, when you're in isolation around football, the week off can be quite difficult, and what we did was try and not talk too much about the Brisbane game, not review the Brisbane game, have a few activities when we can go to the Oval, maybe play some soccer on the Oval or some different sports, and just try and get away from footy, as much as that's so hard when you're surrounded by 45 players in a resort that's fenced off and you can't really go anywhere. We tried to sort of steer clear of footy, and that worked until the Geelong GWS game. Then we started, obviously, watch the footy and then watch the footy the next night as well. And just today we reviewed the Brisbane game and did our prep game on Geelong. So we're into a normal week with our main session coming up, and all things leading to Optus Stadium Friday night.
Max, do you feel nervous? Do you feel excited? What would be an emotion you're feeling at the moment?
Probably because I'm just so away from Melbourne, away from what is normal. I'm not thinking too much footy at the moment, so the nervousness hasn't crept in. When I found out it was Geelong, so either Geelong or GWS, when I found out who we were playing, I had a sleepless night that night. I wanted to play the prelim straight away. But since then, yeah, we've eased back, and it just feels like a normal week. We're going through what we normally do. I no doubt I'll be nervous. It's a prelim final. It's the best game of the year. Everyone loves playing it. We're going to have a full crowd by the sounds of things. Looking at Geelong GWS, they managed to get 40 to 50, I think. So, yeah, there'll be some nerves around on that Friday day.
Now, obviously, you played in a prelim a couple of years ago, but Geelong seems to play in them every year. Do you think it's an advantage that you're away from the euphoria of Melbourne supporters and how well you're playing, or would have you liked to have actually soaked that up and used that potentially to your advantage?
It wasn't an advantage last time we were in a prelim in Perth, being away from it. No, it's quite of a different feel. Like, I remember the two finals early in Melbourne last year where we had almost 100,000 to both games. That was soaking up. Like, I lived in Richmond. Walking down the streets of Richmond was just incredible in and around those 2 weeks. And it was definitely energy sapping though. So we've been able to sort of do it the opposite way. We've only played one game in the final series. We were able to have that bye, and we're able to be away from football. We haven't seen anyone. We're not allowed to see anyone. So you probably have got away from that. I'm not sure if that's going to be an advantage or not. I'm not sure if the way Western Bulldogs travelling all the way around Australia and playing every week, that might be an advantage come grand final day. Who knows what is the actual advantage in the final series, but what we do know is what we can control, and we got Darren Burgess, he says he's the best in the business at this sort of stuff, so we just have to listen to him, and he's got his cherry ripe. We had a good little session at West Coast Oval, actually, on West Coast Training Oval on Friday, and yeah, I still think we're going to get a bit of a buzz from Melbourne fans being on the ground. I feel like walking out on that stadium. Adelaide Oval wasn't packed, unfortunately. There was only about 15,000 there with the restrictions. So that buzz of having 50, that'll give us that finals feeling that we're probably craving to have.
Now, Maxie, you threw in the little remark about the 2018 prelim, which didn't go your way, and I'm sure the list has changed and things have moved on significantly since that time. But do you feel a little bit of pressure on the back of that, just for that reason, that last time you arrived at this stage, it certainly didn't go anywhere near the plan?
There's so many different things about 2018. We're a completely different side to start. Well, not completely different, but we got a lot of different players and coaches and play a different sort of brand of football than what we were in 18. And 18, we were doing it from fifth, so we had to win every game. There's very different feels, and we were beaten up early by West Coast. They came out hot and we couldn't bring it back. And I see it as a completely different game of football. Like I've been to Optus Stadium 3 times since, and I don't think about the prelim. Like there's no haunted memories of this prelim. That was an amazing occasion. I still talk about that prelim as one of the best moments of my career, being in a interstate territory for a prelim weekend. Like walking around the morning of the game, it was footy fanatic. It was one of the greatest feelings I've had in football. And that's because I haven't played in too many finals. So to be in the interstate prelim, it's a great memory of mine until obviously the game. So, no, I love Optus Stadium. I love the new group of players that we have, and like millennials won't even be thinking that this is a prelim. Like Luke Jackson doesn't even know what I'm thinking. He's just, another game of footy. I'm just really excited to do that. Yeah.
Too busy trying to count his teeth, Big Lukey, at the moment.
He still hasn't got them fixed as well. It is quite funny.
I was there that day in 2018. It was the most amazing experience I think I've had in footy too, certainly in broadcasting. It was out of this world, the hostility towards you, and then the Eagles got the roll on and it was game over, effectively. But this week's obviously very different. It's neutral teams in a neutral venue. So it's a totally different experience, even though, as you say, I'm sure there'll be a contingent of Demon supporters. On the weekend, we saw Geelong do a bit of a number on the Giants. And then round 23, we had the drama with you, of course, kicking the goal after the siren to lock away that top spot and give you the chance to get any advantage you could with that. What are you worried about this week? Anything with Geelong, or is it a matter of if you play the best you can, it's good enough?
Well, you have to take them on the game that we played them in round 23. Like that's both teams' game styles at the end of the season, going into finals, going head to head. So you can take a lot out of that game. It's funny. That last game of the year, everyone was talking about how Doggies were playing Port and we were playing Geelong, and everyone was thinking it was just going to be the same in the qualifying final the week later. It's ended up being the same in the prelim final 3 weeks later, which is quite interesting in itself as well. We learnt a lot. Obviously, they had that run on in that second quarter where they kicked 5 goals from centre bounces, and that's something that we think we've been able to fix because Brisbane had some momentum at centre bounce as well, and we're able to stop that. So. And then just watching a few of their games against, obviously, Giants and Port, they really love marking the ball. They can get some high mark tallies. Their defenders are really good at marking the ball. So Lockie Henderson and Mark Blitzarves and Jack Henry and these sort of guys can really, really mark the ball, and that can hurt you. So we need some strong contests from Benny Brown and Tommy Mack up forward and Bailey Fritsch. And yeah, we need to be better in the centre. We can't let them kick 5 goals in 5 minutes and almost put us out of the game.
Max, you've spoken through the year about how your reviews, they're so short. When you're looking at who you're playing this week, do you concentrate on what you did really well against Geelong and getting back into the game, or do you concentrate on what happened in the first half to make sure it doesn't happen again?
There's a few different ways that our opposition coach sort of runs through. Our opposition coach is Sammy Radford. He runs through a few things relatively quickly still. We still like this quick meeting stuff. There was a little bit of the round 23 game, a little bit about how Port were able to dismantle Geelong at times, and then a little bit of Geelong at their very best, which we saw against us for a quarter, which we saw against GWS for 2 or 3 quarters, and before that they won 11 in a row. So being able to get that all in a sort of 20-minute package is quite good. But now we go on and I'll talk to Greg Stafford about Reece Stanley, and then I'll go talk to Troy Chaplin and Adam Uze about different parts of the game as well. And that's where we're all a bit of responsibility in yourself to really work out your actual role. But from a team point of view, we know exactly what Geelong's strengths are. We know what our strengths are. And that's what prelim finals, if you worry too much about the other team, you almost lose it. So it's almost strength v strength. So we're just hoping that our strengths are better than their strengths.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So one of the talking points is around Nathan Jones and how well he's training and how he's doing everything possible to give himself a chance at the fairy tale ending. Is it a chance? Is he that close? Could he be a sub? Is he doing well enough without playing games to force himself into the team? Where is he sitting at the moment? Someone that I know you're very close to.
Yeah, there's no sugarcoating this. I think people might think we are because Nathan Jones, it's a really good story at the moment that he could be a chance to play in grand final. But there is no sugar on this. He is the 24th player currently right now. Obviously, the 23rd was Jimmy Jordan on the weekend, and then the 22 played. He's probably sitting 24, and Melksham, Michael Hibberd, and Jaden Hunt are all there as well. So there's almost 4 guys that are trying to get into this team, and Goody's going to have a long discussion. We were a team that won on the weekend by 40 points in a qualifying final with no injuries. It's a massive call to make a change. Will Nathan be able to stand up in a hot prelim final more than James Jordan if that was called on as sub? Or James Jordan has put in a great body of work, 23 weeks of that's been a great body of work and definitely deserves his chance. And Jake Melksham did a great job at Optus Oval actually 4 weeks ago on Jeremy McGovern. And then the debate of trying to get Michael Hibberd and Jaden Hunt back in this team. So I don't envy what Goody's got to do, but there's no sugar on this situation. There is 5 guys fighting for a spot in this side, and it keeps the other 22 guys that are in the team quite hungry as well, knowing that they're one slip up, one poor game maybe from missing out on a prelim final.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story evolving as the week goes on. Can I just ask you about Goody? We spoke to, I think it was Isaac Smith last week, and he was talking about how he sometimes feels sorry for coaches in quarantine setups because they're around the players all day, every day, and there's no real time for them to chill out. How's Goody been throughout the last week and a half?
If he wasn't in a hub, I'd be worried about him. He does, and this is no word of a lie, he does a 15k morning around a 100-metre car park. We've got a square car park that can fit maybe 20 to 30 cars in there, so that's how big it is, probably about 100 metres. And he does roughly 50 laps of it in the morning, goes out for a walk. And all the boys can see it. All our balconies look out to that car park, so we just see Goody just walking laps of this car park. And he's done it every morning. He's done it 10 mornings in a row. He's insane.
That's magnificent.
He is genuinely insane.
Do you see a difference outside the walking in circles, which is a real concern? I must admit, I'm with you on that one. Do you see a different side of the coaches because you sort of have to be? Are they allowed to come out of their coach moulds for a couple of hours a day, or how's it work?
We've got a good relationship with the coaches. Before, obviously, the hub last year, we spent 100 days in a hub. So the relationship you build with coaches then, and we got the same bunch of coaches, obviously Uze and Choco are new this year. We had a Father's Day video yesterday, which was quite good to see all the kids saying Happy Father's Day, and Choco's family was absolutely hilarious. They were taking the piss out of him from minute 1 to minute 10. Which was actually really good to see. So no, the coaches have blended in really well. They're obviously doing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes to make sure our meetings can be really quick and sharp and getting the point across. And we had to leave a lot of staff members behind, so there's coaches doing dual roles here and triple roles. None of them are doing massages yet, but I'm going to ask Gary Purd if he wants to flush my calves this afternoon. I'll see how that goes down.
I reckon Purdy be up for that. I reckon he would do just about anything at as humanly possible to get the D's into a grand final, Max. I reckon I'd be pushing the envelope with Purdy this week if I was you.
Don't be surprised if you're watching the game and during one of the goals he kicked and he's there holding a water bottle. Don't be surprised.
I'm backing him in. Now, after one of those goals, it might be a Christian Petrarca goal. We can't have a conversation with you without asking him about how he's going. The shirt's been off a lot on the socials. I'm concerned about the level of vitamin D he's getting. He might be going over the top.
Yeah, his top's been off a bit. He's running with the washing. He hasn't been able to get his washing done or something like that. So, I mean, to be fair, the first 6 or 7 days it was raining. So it's just these last sort of 3 or 4 days the boys have seen sun for the first time in 5 months. And obviously not great for Clayton Oliver, Jake Bowie, and Harry Petty, but Christian is loving it. But the guys are Madonis at the moment. He's in unbelievable shape and playing really good finals football. So if he wants to have his top off, he can certainly have his top off.
I saw him in the gym yesterday with Goody. There's a photo of him in the gym, just the bare back. He was bulging muscles, Max. Reminded me of myself in my youth, I must admit. A very similar sort of setup he was running. Very similar.
I've just pictured you half with your top off, and I'm worried now.
You're not the first.
Hey, Max, probably the last one from me is just a message for the Melbourne fans that are at home. And I know that you've been speaking to a lot of them through social media and whatever else, but for those that are listening this morning, only a few days out, just how the group's feeling, your level of confidence going in. You've beaten the Cats twice this year, but just how you're feeling as a group and the level of confidence going into Friday night.
Look, we're in uncharted territory. This group's never played in a prelim final off the back of having a rest. So finishing top 4. We've never been to the finals hub. We've never been away from our family for 4 weeks during finals like this, and then also our fans have never not been able to go to the G to watch their team play finals. So everyone's in uncharted territories, and we're doing the best we can. We've got to have our leaders be strong. We've got to have our coaches and our leaders in the staff area be really strong. But we think we're in a good place to be able to play our brand of football on Friday night and put on a show for the local Perth fans. And I think we got 1,000 Melbourne members that are in WA as well, so they'll be there, hopefully in the cheer squad, making a bit of noise. And obviously we'd love to play this game at the G, but circumstances have got us here in Perth, and that's not going to stop us from hopefully reaching our goal of winning the flag. We're not going to let little things like this stop us. So we've all made a sacrifice one way or another. I've got obviously a heavily pregnant wife back at home, and Nathan Jones' story is very well told, but he's got an extremely heavily pregnant wife with twins back at home, and he's not even in the team. So there's sacrifices galore. But what we want to do is put a Premiership Cup back up there for the Demon fans to be able to sit back and enjoy. And we've got a big chance to be able to do that, but we've got to get through this prelim final first. And it's a hot game, Geelong. I know this answer's gone long, but the last 5 years, the Geelong games have been decided by a kick or less. Zach Tui kicked one after the siren. I've missed one before the siren. Then I kicked one after the siren. And Adam Tomlinson missed one after the siren. So there's 4 games there. So it's going to be, I feel like no one's going to know who's in the grand final literally until the siren goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you personally, how are you feeling? You're captain, you've talked a lot all year about the importance of leadership, and it seems like you're really thriving in the role, and it becomes more important when you're away from home. How are you enjoying that extra responsibility? Because it seems to be reflecting some really good footy from yourself.
Yeah, I think the heavy lifting comes in pre-seasons when you're a leader, trying to set up the values and the culture that you want to go by for the rest of the year. And then the group of people that I have around me, not only my other 6 or 7 leaders, but the group of players that we have are so energetic and wanting to learn, and they're happy to be at work. And to have that around me it's made my role a lot easier and very fulfilling. Selfishly, I've taken a lot out of this role, just how fulfilling it is, and I feel like I'm getting that effect on my teammates as well. So I know our job's not done. We've got a long way to go, but I'm extremely proud of how this group's grown from 17th in 2019 to 9th last year, just missing the finals, and now to a prelim final. But we've been here before and dropped off. So not only what happens in this next 2 weeks is important, but what happens in the next 3 or 4 years with this club is super important.
Well, we are very, very excited about what's happening this Friday night. Don't you worry about that. 7:50, Melbourne v Geelong. It is what promises to be one for the ages in the preliminary final for a spot in the 2021 AFL Grand Final. Maxie, enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the build-up. God, we hope you go well. Good luck.
Thanks.
Maxie Gawn with us. We caught up with him late yesterday evening because of the time difference in Perth, but he was always up for a good chat about this weekend and what it might mean for the footy club.